going on, folks? Welcome to the Big Dudes in the Trenches podcast.
I
We have
made
a
it.
wild tug here. Congratulations.
A wild tug appeared.
Bug will not be joining us for this episode
Sadness.
thanks to work things.
No one likes work.
It's not acceptable. Needs to
Well,
quit.
it's kind of acceptable. Definitely does
No.
not need to quit.
Does. Yep. Anyway, hopefully we don't have as many issues with Tug's internet today.
I think I have them figured out. I got my Ethernet back, which means my speeds are up. Here, let's for shiggles.
Speeds are good. I like having speeds.
Yeah, there it is.
Uh-oh. I don't know what happened, but he's happy.
We're showing about 25 on the download. We're doing pretty good.
You know, for South Dakota, I guess it's okay.
Well, for the amount of devices I have, even with an Ethernet connection, it's more than okay.
Sure. We'll take your word for it. 25 doesn't sound great to me, but that's,
to get it, I have to go through my electrical wires. So it's a give and take here. There's definitely some lost efficiency along the way.
That sounds really bad. You know what's not bad? It's college football.
I love college football. This week, we don't have to talk about this last week, though. Can ignore it.
We will talk about this last week because it's part of the rules. We keep score.
Yeah, that's fine. My Big 12 theory worked, I think, once this week.
Yeah, and fuck you.
Because it was the one I said it would work on for the reason I said it would work.
Yeah, so fuck you. Let's go ahead and start off here. You were sitting pretty, 632 on the season.
Yeah.
Up by 6.
Look, we're all above 500, and that's really what matters.
I mean, it's a good start. I would like for at least one of us to get about 2/3, which you're close.
Define about. But when we're talking these numbers, I would say that's about 2/3.
Well, closer to 2/3. How's that? I would like me to be closer to 2/3 than you.
I would like you to stay where you're at.
Let's get started on Friday. Of course, we had an FCS banger. Dartmouth over Princeton. Once again, Keggy standing strong.
Yeah, Keggy came back for us. We're not going to let him. We weren't going to let 1 week deter us, so we rode with Keggy, and it worked out.
And Cal finally won an ACC game, the first ACC win in program history.
I just want everybody watching to pay attention to this order of Cal picks, and we'll get back to it later.
New Mexico beat the two of us. Bug picked it correctly. The Lobos got themselves an upset win in my eyes, but the same token, San Diego State's really not been that good this season.
All right, I'm going to take this moment because I know we're not talking about this game, but the Mountain West blew my mind this week, and then my two favorite teams blew my mind this week. Air Force looked like Air Force again, and then Miami somehow won. But back to college football. Air Force beating Fresno State, New Mexico beating San Diego State. Those are both upsets in the Mountain West that, granted, neither of those teams were really looking at the Mountain West title, but definitely shakes up the calculus a little bit.
For clarification, in case folks don't know, he's talking about the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, correct. They saved Florida.
Right.
That's how it goes. Saved Florida.
We'll get to the other Miami in a minute. Actually, right now. Because, Georgia Tech beat Miami. This is Miami's first loss of the season, and it feels like it should be their fourth.
Yeah, we knew this was going to happen at some point to Miami. I wasn't really expecting it this last week, but again, it came down to the wire, and this is where their luck ran out.
About time.
Damn, we put a graphic warning on our show. I wasn't ready.
Miami's needed to lose for a while. Okay.
Sense about Virginia Tech, to be honest.
And Rutgers beat all three of us as well. We got
Greg Schiano'd. Man, I was real close to taking Rutgers, but Minnesota's been riding a high. I wanted to keep going with them, but man, that Rutgers that Schiano Rutgers at home is just a different beast.
But we all avoided the skunk here because Boston College did win. Syracuse cannot win.
Cannot play on the road.
And yeah,
this is my Big 12.
Oh gosh, I really dislike Cincinnati. That's where we're at with this.
Yeah, you dislike them so much you pick the game again because you wanted revenge.
You know who else I wanted revenge on, though? It was ULM. And we got it.
You got
Texas State beat the shit out of them.
Absolutely.
And then Navy beat the crap out of South Florida, which I really wasn't expecting quite as much. I thought USF would have a shot here. Navy, I mean, still looks good.
Navy looks good. They had a couple hiccups against teams we almost expected them to have hiccups against. Last week was not. This past weekend was back to normal Navy. The week before was not really what I expected. This is their get right week. It's unfortunate the timing of the season that it's coming in because I don't think they get to maintain this momentum.
Moving right along, East Tennessee State got a big win. You finally picked against Western Carolina.
Yeah, you're just going to know when to take them. You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them.
That's where I was going. Yep.
I've got a knack for this. You'll see it come up again later in our future picks. And you saw me pick the team, and I know it annoyed you when I did because whenever I pick them, they win.
Yeah, fuck you. A wild Facebook event went down in Dayton, and we got
Matadors.
We got Torreroed. San Diego.
What is this San Diego team? Can you make anything of them?
I feel like they're getting better is really the theme of San Diego right now. This is a team that really did compete for Pioneer titles every year forever.
Yeah.
And then just fell off a cliff. I feel like they're climbing that ladder again. So Dayton's fallen off entirely. They looked like they were in contention for the conference at one point alongside Davidson. There's a few different teams that had a shot in the Pioneer at some point this year. San Diego's taken most of those out, and we're left where we started with Drake. So
it's fair.
And then Harvard over Columbia, another big win for us. Very, very nice to see. Columbia not doing as well as they started the year, but also they started the year so hot it was unbelievable and obviously unsustainable. So don't really blame them too much.
Hey man, I hate to do this. Can you check the chat on the side?
Uh-oh. I don't know what's happening. We're moving right along. Duquesne over Robert Morris. Huge win for Duquesne in the NEC. Looking like the Dukes will be the NEC representative in the playoff, though that has yet to be decided officially. We are making a pick this week for another game in the NEC. Really the lone challenger yet for the Dukes throne here is coming up soon. So big win for Duquesne. Robert Morris can't hang with the big boys. They're beating up on lesser teams in the NEC. And then Holy Cross. We all picked Holy Cross for some reason this season. Unreal. But I finally got Delaware right. Very excited about that. And Tug finally got Rhode Island wrong. Very excited about that as well. Now, I'm avoiding the meme. I did put a meme on this for Lehigh. It's terrible, and I'm sorry, but also the Lehigh Mountain Hawks Mountain Hawk to us. I'm not proud of that. We're moving along. The Towson Tigers took down Hampton. None of us got that right. Unbelievable win for Towson, and Hampton, again, looks like they're falling off a cliff. Happened to a couple of FCS teams so far that we've talked about. But, I mean, I don't know what's going on with the Pirates. maybe it was a little strength of schedule merchant happening there. And then New Hampshire, another CAA team, getting a big win. Welcome back, Tug.
Thanks, bud. Sorry, I've got one dog being an asshole downstairs.
Nice. The big game, though, in the FCS this week, the crazy one of the biggest comebacks we've seen in quite a while. Southern Illinois, out of nowhere, after Youngstown State was up by too much.
You say out of nowhere, but you pick this. And honestly,
Yeah.
Southern Illinois had to get one at one point. It was time.
And Bug obviously couldn't be here with us right now, but he did text me and say he wanted to say something about SIU because he was so proud of this win, even though he picked the Penguins. Come on, dude. But he's a big SIU fan from that area. So he said that he essentially, there's a big long text that says he wants Nick Hill back next season and he deserves to keep his job another year because this was awesome. It was they fixed their biggest issue, which was they didn't finish games. And they finally finished the game. I would say did that pretty well.
Yeah, I would agree.
Hard to argue that point, honestly. The Tiger will return.
Oh, no, it went down. Haha, another random FCS win.
Yeah, Davidson. I don't get the Pioneer League right now. That's where I'm at.
That's fair. I apparently just get lucky as long as I'm not picking the Tommies.
I also don't get Eastern Kentucky.
It's the later part of the year. It's kind of like Harvard where they got told, hey, maybe you can go play in the postseason, and then went, okay, and started winning.
No, I don't think that's true at all because I picked them last week and they didn't win. I picked them this past week and they win.
That's why there's another East Kentucky game on our slate moving forward. You're trying to get them right.
Can't figure it out. It's killing me.
It's fair.
But I didn't get skunked because I did take Chattanooga over the Citadel, which, looking at the records, this game looks interesting and like it had some stakes, but we all kind of
not interesting.
Yeah. What is interesting?
SEMO dropped one to Lindenwood. Wow.
Out of nowhere, the Lindenwood Lions from the top rope. More like from under the mat.
Majestic.
It's beautiful. It's the best looking line I've ever seen in my life. I know Bug would enjoy this very much. He's not a big SEMO guy.
It's fair.
And then, you picked Wofford again, out of nowhere, pulling that one out of your ass.
I tend to do that. We've talked about this. This is working for me this year.
I know. South Dakota State is good.
Yeah, South Dakota State is good. The drop is not bad. Yes, my St. Thomas Achilles heel is showing again. I just can't pick against them as much as I want to.
Well, we might give you another chance to right your wrongs.
I think I've corrected my wrongs this time.
UIW is looking to lock in a playoff spot. A big win over Lamar gets them right in position to claim the Southland throne once again.
Can they claim this upcoming weekend?
I believe so. I don't think it's particularly close anymore. UIW's pulling away. But then in the Big Sky, we all picked Weber State. The Tigers back. You got us again.
It happens.
I have been inconsistently enjoying Idaho State from afar on occasion. That's my relationship with this team right now. So we're gonna dip back into the well and see what happens when we take a prolonged look at this team.
I like it.
Because Idaho State's really fun when they get hot. It's just they don't stay hot.
No, it's usually this part of the year where they get hot.
And they create some chaos if you let them stick around. They'll nip you.
And Weber State let them.
And then I was
What?
just talking all that mad shit about the SWAC, how there's Jackson State, Florida A&M, and then everybody else, and then Prairie View A&M smacks them upside the head, and it skunked me because I also picked Texas Southern over Alcorn State, and I picked Samford over Tennessee Tech.
Dude, you got to rival me with Tennessee Tech when I pick Tennessee Tech. It's that simple.
We got prairie dogged.
Yeah, we did.
And then Bug always picks Alcorn games correctly. That's a theme so far. I don't love that theme. Not a big fan of that. I think we're going to try to change that this week.
I want to know how you feel about the Tennessee Tech theme I have going on here.
I don't like that either. You're not allowed to pick Tennessee Tech anymore. I'm not going to give us any more Tennessee Tech games.
I got bad news. We'll get there later.
Okay. I picked Ole Miss, though.
Hold up.
Which I'm...
Because this was not just a beating. This was...
Right.
The score is closer than this game was. Ole Miss controlled this game from start to finish. And there is no question.
There was a drive. Jackson Dart was out, and Ole Miss looked perfectly fine without him.
Yep.
There was a drive where Georgia started with great field position and immediate turnover. Like, Ole Miss just did whatever they wanted to at times.
Yep.
This was kind of unreal.
It really was.
And now Georgia's only ranked win is against Texas, who is the number 3 team in the country right now. So
in the SEC, I'm going to bring it up here because this is a good time to bring it up. In the SEC is losing its mind that its only top 5 in the college football playoff rankings is Texas right now. The other 4 in the top 5 belong to the Big Ten, which includes none other than Indiana.
And the Big Ten has those 4 in the top 5, and then nobody else in the top 25.
Which is kind of what we've discussed with the Big Ten for a long time. It's the top of the Big Ten, and then everybody else.
Right.
These are just not the teams we all expected. Specifically, Indiana is not the team we expected to be at the top of the...
I mean, I did expect the team up north to take a big step back this year.
That's valid.
I actually think next year might be worse for them.
If I'm Indiana, though, I'm a little scared. Because we're getting to that time of the season when Curtis Rourke does Curtis Rourke things. And I hope that doesn't happen, but it's definitely been a theme the past 3 years.
Luckily for Indiana and Curtis Rourke, they have a bye week this week to get themselves together before they head into the shoe for a top 5 matchup.
Put him in a bubble. Like,
that is assuming that Ohio State beats Northwestern. I'm sorry, Northwestern. I think that's a fair assumption. And then we all picked Iowa State to bounce back.
Doing Big 12 things. I didn't apply my correct. God damn it, we're not in Kansas anymore. I didn't apply my proper Big 12 logic. This is my fault.
This is even more funny because Kansas is playing their games in Kansas City, Missouri this season. So we're really literally not in Kansas anymore. This slide looks good for all of us.
You should have parlayed this slide. This is the slide out of all of them you should have parlayed.
Hey, if you picked randomly correctly that this was the good slide,
congrats.
Props to you. One thing I talked about when we discussed the Army North Texas game was that North Texas seems like they're able to score on anybody. And then they got held to 3 points against Army. Wild. Also, Army had a 14-minute drive. Just incredible. Love that.
Hold on. I'm going to explain to you real quick here. I got to look up. I got to get the actual stats, but I'm going to explain to you specifically why North Texas could not score. And it's probably the same reason Fresno State could not score.
Is it? Yeah, it's because time of possession. And
hold on. I want to see this. Yeah, okay. So Army had the ball for a total of 41 minutes and 45 seconds in a 60-minute game.
Yeah. Usually that goes pretty well for the team that has the ball for 41 minutes. I would say typically that's what we would expect to have happen is that team wins. And they did here. Army is 9-0 for the first time in a very long time. They get a bye week before playing Notre Dame.
That my
Very
eyes are on
exciting.
that game. That's going
I
to
think
be
everyone's eyes are on that game.
It's going to be a real good test for both Notre Dame and
concerned for Notre Dame that their eyes are also on that game.
Correct.
Clemson gets a big win, kind of, depending on if you want to call it a bigger win or not. But Virginia Tech is a very talented team, and this is in Blacksburg. Clemson kind of feels like they corrected themselves after Louisville.
Yeah, that's 100% what happened here. And Clemson is still very much in the hunt now, with Miami dropping one for a spot in that ACC title game again. Looks like at this point it's SMU's to lose.
Unreal.
Which is wild.
And then Duke take care of business.
Duke's doing Duke things late in the season.
Duke's looking real good. I didn't expect them to be as good this year.
No, Duke's doing Duke things in the
We've talked about that quite a few weeks, actually.
Yeah.
This slide went pretty well.
Bug made a critical mistake. This was on the CW. It was San Jose State's game the entire time. He just didn't know it because Oregon State absolutely should have won this game. They are absolutely a better team, but it was on the CW.
And congratulations to the Spartans and Kenny Matalolo.
Yes.
We were all right about South Carolina State. Big game in the MEAC over there.
Howard takes 2 big L's in 1 week. It's tough, man.
And then Colorado comes storming back against Texas Tech. What a second half for the Buffaloes, honestly.
Yeah, this game is actually a lot closer than that score indicates. There's a last minute, I think it was a pick six or a scoop and score. That kind of
scoopity score
that kind of gave him that 14-point lead. But no, Colorado's second half is absolutely outstanding. I was watching this game for most of it, laughing to myself, knowing what I had said and knowing you would be utterly upset if it actually went down that way. And it was looking like it was going to.
Correct. I was very pissed. Luckily for you, I was watching the Ohio State game that entire time, and we beat Purdue 45-0. So it didn't really matter in that moment.
Doug, that wasn't a game. That was a clinic for Ohio State.
It was a
clinic
experiment. It was a scrimmage with experimentation. That's how bad that game was for Purdue. We did whatever we wanted to, literally, and tried some things out.
And somehow they worked.
And we got our first Big Ten conference game shutout in 7 years. So, anyway, not supposed to be talking about Ohio State Purdue there, but
Kennesaw State trying to make it a game.
Yeah, at UTEP, a battle of trash bin teams. This was fun, mostly for the meme of I can't stand Kennesaw State. Shout out to them for scoring 35 points. Can't believe they were able to do that. But UTEP does win at UTEP. A great game down in the UAC. Abilene Christian at Austin Peay. Abilene Christian pulls it out 35-34.
You tried to meme us, get Ben and I. We didn't fall for it, but it still almost went the other way, and we almost all memed ourselves.
I know. Gosh, how embarrassing it would have been if Austin Peay actually won this game. All the hate I've given over the years. South Carolina Vanderbilt. People are hyping up this South Carolina team now as if it's like the greatest team of all time and would beat everybody in the top 25, not named, I don't know, Alabama, because they did lose to Alabama by 2. Here's the thing. They're not perfect. And this game wasn't perfect either. But
the funniest thing here is they're 4-3 in conference.
I know. South Carolina fans are delusional because they beat Vanderbilt by 21 points and think that's a phenomenal win.
No.
Louisiana.
Yeah,
Arkansas State.
I rescind anything I said bad. I don't believe in Butch Jones, and I don't believe in a team of champions here. I apologize for this pick and ruining another parlay slide for everybody.
Had to highlight the score here. 55-19 is insane.
I didn't know Louisiana was capable of putting up 55 points.
For a game that was actually important in the Sun Belt race, like Arkansas State with a win would have been in the driver's seat. But no, Louisiana is too good for that nonsense. And then UCF travels across the country. Arizona State pulls out another win, another close game here. The Sun Devils are on an incredible run this season, 7-2 right now. I don't think anyone, including people in the program, expected to be in this position right now.
No. The Big 12 is an absolute mess right now for that third place spot.
Right. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with the top two spots either.
Yeah. At least those two are alone, but you've got a four-way tie.
Man.
For third place, then a bunch of other people, and then Oklahoma State. Had to get the jab in.
And in the SEC,
Bama
a laugher. Yeah. Alabama looked unstoppable the entire night. Craziest part for me, though, is that once again confirming Alabama legitimately does have the talent to be the best team in the country. They just don't want to be sometimes.
They've
I
had
don't entirely understand.
They've had enough time at the top. They want to let somebody else enjoy it. As long as it's not Georgia. As long as it's not Georgia, which
right,
they handled their business there.
I mean, right. Who the hell knows? But we did all pick Alabama, so I guess good for us there.
Oh, we almost had a perfect cat slide, man. You knew one of these. You called it last week. You knew one of these games was going to get us. That is not the game I thought that was going to get us, though.
Right. I was fully expecting Oklahoma to be able to pull off this win, and they very nearly did, but they gave it away to Missouri as clock ran down. They fumble recovery, touchdown defense. Missouri wins.
Look, I was worried about the Penn State game because it's a whiteout, but Penn State finally pulls off a whiteout win against Washington, 35-6.
Because they didn't make the official whiteout against Ohio State.
Yeah, they were smart.
And then Pitt drops another one back-to-back here. Virginia is one of those teams that is sneaky decent from time to time. And we got old school cavaliered.
I love it.
UNLV in a nail-biter out at Hawaii. We did all take the Rebels. But yeah, I called it. This was a very fun matchup. Really fun the entire way, honestly.
Look, another fun matchup here is one you gave me crap for, and I almost pulled that one out. And there's controversy on this one, too.
Yeah. Yep. Not a fan of how close this was for all the shit that I talked last week.
Utah showed up for a game, losing, though, 22-20 against BYU. Tough one, but, man, I almost had another Big 12 upset.
So everybody's talking about that defensive holding call that sparked that final drive, and I get it.
The biggest thing is the AD actually came out and said something, which is different than the coach and carries a lot more weight when it comes to things like that. Although I think they were still short of protesting the game, which would have been wild.
It's still the same result as if the coach talked about it, though, because he got fined $40,000. And we're moving on as if the refs did everything correct. Here's the thing. So the penalty in question really did look like a 50-50 call. The only real problem is that they weren't calling that consistently.
Yeah.
If they had called it earlier, I don't think there'd be any complaint.
So here's the thing. In a game like this, it's tight, it's close, it's a rivalry game. You got to keep your consistency. The game's not getting out of hand. You don't see flagrant falls all over the place. That's where I kind of agree with Utah. Man, let them play. Let the boys play. Especially because if I remember looking at that one right, it had absolutely no effect on the play whatsoever.
Sure.
And they
not.
So you say that, but even the 1 year I refed, man, they even straight up tell you, they go, if it doesn't affect the play, like if it's a holding, the guy's 20 yards downfield and there's a holding behind the play, like back at the line of scrimmage, don't throw the flag. It's not worth it. Like the play's gone.
Youth.
But the logic still applies because again, what do they teach everybody? What do we all say? There's a holding on every play.
Sure.
Right. So you got to call the ones that matter. If this one had no effect, he wasn't the intended receiver. It didn't delay anything. Like
Here's my
it's a tough
actual
one.
thought on that though, because defensive holding, if it's on the secondary, affects the route. And so you can't make that determination for the OC and the quarterback as a ref and say that that guy was not the actual intended target of the play, but he got held out of his route and was unable to be the target.
I will say I have to watch. I watched it like once or twice. I do need to see it again, but that was the first thing that stuck out to me is that had no effect on the play. And there are times where
understand.
You can,
and I would be more comfortable saying that if it were a holding on the offensive line when the receiver had already caught the ball, was 80 yards down the field away from the line. But this is affecting a route that's being run. I'm not as comfortable just going ahead and throwing that out the window. But yeah, they hadn't really called it that way. So make up your mind.
Yeah, exactly.
And one last game on this week, UC Davis beat the crap out of Montana.
Dude, UC Davis is a spoiler team. Montana is not what they were. I'm kind of impressed.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with this game.
And Tug will be right back once again. If you heard the dog in the background, not internet issues, but did get to see the start of this game. It was actually extremely competitive. Montana was moving the ball just fine. Second half, completely different story. UC Davis took control of this and ended up kind of running away with it 30-14. Like I said, that does wrap up the week, which puts us looking at the podium here. Tug's hanging at base camp. 30-21 is pretty respectable. Bug's still trying to climb. 31-20, and I reached the mountaintop of the week finally. Yeah, it's by 3 games. I'm claiming it. It's a big win. Does move me 3 games closer to Tug overall. But actually, Tug's win percentage did go up anyway. So
my win percentage went down. I was 6-3 too.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of 2 weeks ago when you were 6-2-6.
Yeah, I'm real upset though because I'm real close to 6-2-6 again.
Yeah. All right, moving right along to this upcoming week of action, starting us off on Friday. Of course, there are games going on right now. We're not picking games as they're happening live. That doesn't seem right. So, action kind of goes by the wayside in the last part of the season, unfortunately. But we will pick up our games on Friday here, North Texas at UTSA, kicking us off.
Yeah, dude. North Texas is going to get back on the right path here. UTSA is not what they were even just a few years ago. I think they are having a decent season though. 2-3 in conference, same as North Texas here. I'm going to go North Texas get right game here, and I think they're gonna take this one.
So North Texas is a slight favorite, literally by 1 point right now, but it is at UTSA, which does scare me. I'm picking North Texas for some reason. I really don't believe in North Texas.
Ride the gut, man. It's worked so far for me this year.
Yeah. I don't love the logic, though. There's no logic here. I hate that.
think of half the games I've picked right. There is sometimes no logic.
I know, and
It's almost like March Madness, man.
That's why I'm pissed at you about it.
You pissed at me.
UCLA at Washington. A great Big Ten matchup. Classic Big Ten game here.
That's weird to say. I still don't know how I feel about it.
It is at Washington. I know UCLA is looking decent past couple of weeks. I'm sticking with the Huskies. Both of you guys going with UCLA. I'm pretty surprised about that, gotta say.
I just feel like there's a turning of the tide here for UCLA. They're piecing some wins together. I like what they look like. Washington's been hot and cold. I don't know. This feels like a Bruins game for me.
I literally have a golden dub on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
Washington is 5-5 on the season.
Yep.
They are 5-0 at home and 0-5 on the road.
Yep.
This game is at home. It will be a win. Their next game is on the road. It will be a loss. That is how Washington works this year.
Do they have a neutral site?
Maybe.
Because I'm looking at their record and I'm very confused. They are 5-0 at home. They're 0-4 on the road, but their overall is 5-5. I hope they have a neutral site because otherwise somebody's doing bad math.
Maybe they're not counting the FCS game in that for some reason.
I don't know. Either way, it's off Google. Who cares?
Oh, it is a neutral site. They played a neutral site against Washington State.
There it is.
They lost that game too, actually.
It wasn't at home.
Right.
We're gonna end that streak this week, though. I'm riding with UCLA.
Nope, not happening. Washington all the way. We all agree on these next three. Saturday at noon, kicking us off. Texas at Arkansas.
Yep.
I got really real close to pick Arkansas. Yep.
I was in the same boat. I got real close, but I can't. Texas is piecing something together right now, and you got to ride it out.
Same with Clemson at Pitt for me. I was really considering it.
Yeah, but they're on a slide. Clemson's coming off hot right now. Man, this is not the team I want to play when I want to have to find a win.
And then Utah's at Colorado. The big noon game this week. Finally not big noon for Ohio State.
Also a classic Big 12 matchup.
Sure.
It's as classic as the UCLA-Washington matchup is a Big 10.
I know. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Tulane is at Navy. We are all taking the road team here in the Green Wave. What an underrated season they've had. I would say underrated for our show because we haven't really talked about them a whole lot. Yeah, I wanted to give them some love here. But at the same time, I still kind of can't believe we're all taking Tulane on the road at a really good Navy team this year.
I just don't like the way they match up. And Navy, while they have corrected themselves last week, they don't look like they did at the beginning of the season. Whereas Tulane's looked rock steady, not overly flashy, not overly underwhelming. They're just kind of that rock steady team. You know what you're getting week in, week out, and that's what I'm taking here.
Yeah, I completely agree. Kind of the same way I feel about Yale, honestly. Princeton is headed to Yale this week. Bug's going with Princeton. But yeah, I'm going with the rock steady Bulldogs.
Man, you can meme me on this one, but I don't see the Tigers correcting their entire season this week against Yale. Their season has not been what they usually are. Yale also kind of off, but a little bit more to their norm. This isn't Princeton's year.
If Princeton wins, I will meme the shit out of you on the slide.
That's fine. That's
so
fine.
You know.
I just told you it's okay.
A big battle in the NEC. I know we just talked about Robert Morris kind of taking a step back after that Duquesne loss, but they can still directly impact the NEC race because second place right now, unbelievably, is Central Connecticut, a team we have not really talked about this season.
Does anybody ever really talk about Central Connecticut?
except there are like 4-1, 5-1 in conference. They have yet to play Duquesne. If they can pull off that upset, it will be Central Connecticut in the playoff as the NEC representative.
That just sounds wrong. I don't like that.
I know.
Robert Morris.
I understand that take, but Central Connecticut has a lot to play for here. I think they're going to come out hot, and it's at home for Central Connecticut. I have never picked a Central Connecticut to win before. So
understandable.
We're giving it a go. See what happens.
It's dangerous.
I know. I'm fully aware it's dangerous. I just it would be cool. Be real interesting. Same with Sacred Heart for me. I know it's this game, Sacred Heart at Merrimack. It'd be I have no logic on this one. I got to be honest.
You want them to win. Dude, that's fine. You got a gut feeling they're going to pull it out. I get it. This is at home for Merrimack, though, who is a better team on paper and through the season. Yeah. I'm going to take Merrimack.
I agree that they are the better team, but I'm going Sacred Heart. Bucknell at Holy Cross.
I'm impressed we've been taking Bucknell.
I know. We've been going Bucknell so many times recently. Here's the thing, though. Bucknell is actually higher in the Patriot League standings than Holy Cross is.
Are you applying my Big 12 logic to the...
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying this game now is not a meme pick because we haven't talked about Bucknell enough in the past. This is a legitimate... This has implications for the FCS playoffs. Wild to have Bucknell in that conversation. We're all going with the home team, Holy Cross here. But the Patriot League is a wild, disturbing place. Who the hell knows?
College football is a wild and disturbing place right now.
Coastal Carolina is at Marshall this weekend. I'm shocked that none of us went with the Chanticleers.
No, there's one person in this group that you're shocked didn't take the Chanticleers.
Fair.
And it's because they are really not good this year. Like, if Bug doesn't pick a
chicken
male chicken-based mascot, there's something wrong with that team.
Well, something's wrong with Chanticleers.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty resoundingly Marshall. At the same time, Coastal Carolina is in position to make noise in the Sun Belt East with a win here. This is the Thundering Herds to lose, though, right?
Yeah.
So, moving right along, CAA action once again.
We are not riding the New Hampshire wave.
Yeah, Stony Brook getting some love, really for the first time in our podcast history. We're all picking the Sea Wolves.
Understandably so. They're the better team.
Which usually works in the CAA, which is not true of every conference.
Correct.
It also usually works in the Missouri Valley Conference, which is why you and I are going Illinois State over Indiana State. But Bug's going with Sycamores, I think, because he just hates Illinois State.
That's valid. We are also applying the same logic, all three of us, to South Dakota over North Dakota, who has fallen off a cliff this year.
I know. It's unreal. North Dakota was in like the top 10 conversation and then just decided, actually, we're done winning games. We would like to stop doing that now.
It was fun.
Unreal. Harvard is at Penn this weekend.
It should be Harvard again caught wind that they might be able to play in the postseason and has started winning, and I don't see that stopping here.
Yeah, kind of an iffy call for us to even make a pick here, but it's at Penn, and Penn has historically made some wacky upsets before.
You know, I just realized something as I pulled up the standings. We're talking about as if Harvard's having a really bad season. They only have one loss. Granted, it was to Brown.
Yeah.
Which I think
tainted qualifies as a bad season.
I just I thought they were sitting there middle of the road in the Ivy. They're sitting there in first. They just lost to Brown.
Right. Well, that win over Dartmouth put them at first. Dartmouth was undefeated in the first place. So huge move there. Then Tennessee State at Gardner-Webb. Actually massive. Tennessee State could take over the OVC, Big South OVC, hyphenated conference now. But I'm going with Gardner-Webb. The Running Bulldogs have taken some heat, even from me at some points this season. I still like the team. I like the roster, and I have this really cool hat. So why not?
Because Tennessee State's probably a little bit better. They're probably close to equal, but I favor Tennessee State here, so I'm going Tennessee State.
Understandable.
The Citadel. Why are we picking another Citadel game? They're not a good team. Wofford is good. Wofford.
This is legitimately the battle for the middle of the Southern Conference. I don't know if that's interesting to everybody, but it's interesting to me. We're all picking Wofford.
Wofford's the better team.
Yep, that's where we're at.
I almost forgot that Temple had a D1 football team. I'll be honest.
Which is why we're picking this game, partially. The other reason is because it's the two Owls of the American, two of the three Owls of the American Athletic Conference, because it can't be Florida Atlantic versus Temple versus Rice, unfortunately, all in the same game. That would be really cool.
They need to do a Commander-in-Chief style trophy for the Owl teams.
The Owl's Nest. It'd be great.
Yes, I support this.
But we're all picking FAU heading up to Temple. FAU's had a really disappointing season, got to say.
Yeah, but Temple's just disappointing as a university.
Right. They've had a disappointing existence. So we're all going with the Owls of Florida Atlantic.
I can't believe that somebody's putting faith in Maine as the Black Bears take on Elon.
Once again, the fight for the dead middle of a conference, which may not be interesting to everybody, but it was interesting to me. The extreme mid of the CAA will be decided between Maine and Elon here. It's at Elon, so this is a wild move. I'm taking the Maine Bears. I believe in Carter Peavy for no great reason, but he is he's already a 2,000-yard, 4-to-1 touchdown ratio quarterback. That's something you can't say all that often in the CAA, honestly.
I mean, that's valid, but it's Maine.
I understand that. I do appreciate that logic. My argument against it is, why not Maine?
Because it's Maine.
But it could be Maine.
But it's not.
But it hasn't been historically, but it might be in the future.
No.
Maine is the future.
The future of what?
The CAA.
Bro, they can't count.
The middle of the CAA. Eastern Kentucky is at Austin Peay.
You got one of us this week.
Yeah. Bugs finally going Peay.
Finally going Peay.
Eastern Kentucky actually does have a path to the UAC title. Unbelievably, they need to win out. They need a couple of other things to happen with Abilene Christian and Tarleton State, but there is a shot the Eastern Kentucky could pull it out. They need to win this game. If we don't get the best out of EKU this week, I don't know when we will. I'm trying to finally get a good win on my resume for the Colonels.
This should be EKU's, but you never know when the other team has to go pee.
Right. All hell breaks loose when the other team has to go pee. And this is a game we're picking simply because of a news event. The University of Texas A&M Commerce is no more. It is now known as East Texas A&M, which is a choice. I'll give you that. They kept the same logo and colors and everything. It's in the middle of the football season, so that'd be really difficult if they changed that. But they are now East Texas A&M. and they are hosting Houston Christian, which just changed their name 2 years ago to Houston Christian.
This is like the fourth time East Texas A&M has changed their school's name.
Yes.
Good luck keeping track of it. They're just trying to jump on the brand bandwagon of Texas A&M.
But they also have a really cool lion logo.
The coin. It looks like a coin, which made sense when it was commerce.
Yes. And it doesn't make sense anymore, except it's still a cool lion logo. So we'll give it to them. I have no opinion about this game. Honestly, I went with the home team. I just wanted to track this one because of the name change. It sounded kind of fun.
It's valid.
It is a bottom of the barrel Southland game, and the bottom of the barrel in the Southland is not good.
Correct.
So if you're going to skip one that we talk about, this is the one to skip. At the same time, it's fun for other reasons. Moorhead at Drake. Yeah, Drake.
This is Drake's game to lose. Same thing with
Yes.
Butler. St. Thomas at Butler. I have corrected my ways. This is Butler's game to lose.
Yes. Which means...
that means St. Thomas is going to win this game.
Right. Absolutely. And it means Moorhead's probably going to win this game and create a whole bunch of chaos for no good reason, but we're all picking Drake and we're all picking Butler.
Send it.
Bulldog on Bulldog.
Bulldog on Bulldog violence. Michael Vick went to prison for that.
Michigan State is at Illinois. Jumping back to the FBS level. Nice Big Ten game here. Illinois is on a little bit of a skid. We are all taking the Illini against the Spartans.
Yeah, this is a good way to get right against a team that's kind of middle of the road. Been a little bit overperforming. Even with the loss last week, they did pretty good. Man, it's a tough one, but I think the Illini finally get back to right here.
And one thing that we all didn't take into account, Syracuse at Cal is on the CW. We're taking the home team. That's brutal for us. We're taking the favorite at home.
All right.
On the CW.
As much as you hate my superstition, we kept the same mascots in the same order.
Yes.
So that bodes well.
Oski for the win. Sam Houston at Kennesaw State. Only reason we're taking this matchup
is because you hate Kennesaw State.
Partially that, actually, yes. But also the real reason I was taking this is because another team we haven't talked about enough, kind of in the same vein as Tulane, Sam Houston's having a phenomenal season. And we just haven't really mentioned the Bearcats yet this year. Very recent addition to the FBS, coming up from the FCS, and they're killing it. So, of course, we're all taking Sam Houston at Kennesaw State this week.
Because nobody likes Kennesaw State.
Nobody likes Kennesaw State.
I don't even think Kennesaw State.
But at the same time, I guess they are all infighting, aren't they? They just fired their head coach.
Wow.
Which is brutal.
You're losing in year one. You're fired. Wait a minute.
He built the program from nothing, and then they brought it up to the FBS level and fired him for doing exactly what everybody thought they were going to do. Insane. One area of concern for all of us picking Sam Houston is that Kennesaw State just fired their head coach, and interim head coaches get a 2-game bump for no good reason. It happens all the time. So Kennesaw State's going to play out of their mind, or everybody's going to transfer and they're not going to field a team.
Correct.
Either one, very possible.
Doug likes both.
We're still taking the Bearcats. Moving right along, Tennessee Tech at UT Martin. I can't believe I gave it to you.
You fell for it again. This is a Tennessee Tech game against another Tennessee team. Tech all day.
Oh, man. I don't want it.
The best part is, dude, you read it and went, God, there it is.
I remember doing this now.
What, you think I was kidding when I said stay tuned for later?
I was hoping you were kidding because I forgot I did this to myself.
Come on. And even worse for you, this is a Tennessee Tech game in Tennessee, which always goes well for Tennessee Tech.
For why?
Absolutely
for
no
why?
Reason. For no reason.
Jackson State's at Alabama State. We're all taking Jackson State.
He's just skipping over the UT Martin.
And Alcorn State's at Prairie View A&M. And Bug's going Alcorn State. And I considered going Alcorn State because Bug was going Alcorn State. Here's the thing, though. He can't be right forever. It's impossible. And Prairie View A&M just came off a huge upset win over Florida A&M. I am giving some love to the Panthers. Maybe that was a one-game fluke against the Rattlers. I choose to believe otherwise. Prairie View A&M is going to win the West. I'm putting my stamp on it. I'm going to be wrong. I know I'm going to be wrong. It's fine. It's fine. Incarnate Word is 5-0 in conference, going up against, I believe, second place in the Southland and Stephen F. Austin. Incarnate Word can very nice and neat secure the conference and a playoff berth with a win. Of course, they're going for more than that. They would like to get a seed and also potentially a first-round bye, though I really highly doubt that's going to happen thanks to their 2 losses. But we're all going with Incarnate Word here against Stephen F. Austin, even on the road.
Does the FCS only play 11 games?
Yeah.
Then this is UIW's last game of the regular season, I believe, from what I was seeing earlier.
Actually, they have East Texas A&M left on the schedule.
Let's see. Let me see. Yeah, because they're 8
in Louisiana.
They're 8-2 overall.
It appears they get 12 games this year.
Good for them.
Also, Stephen F. Austin is 3rd in the conference. I was wrong about that. Southeastern Louisiana came out of nowhere and is 2nd in the conference. But they already lost to Incarnate Word, so it's UIW's to lose. Anyway, moving along to Virginia at Notre Dame. Notre Dame's a huge favorite. Really should win.
Really should be a huge favorite. This is Notre Dame's game.
Yep. It should be.
The issue is if they're looking ahead to Army.
That's what I'm afraid of for them. And also, if you're going to overlook a team, it better not be a spunky one like Virginia is that just likes to go wild sometimes.
I would be more concerned about that if they didn't lose to Northern Illinois earlier this year.
Fair enough. Maybe to some folks that would be another reason to be concerned about this one, though.
Yeah, but we've always said Notre Dame's good for one of those every year.
At least one.
Yeah, but usually even their multiples are at the beginning of the season.
Usually. We'll see. We'll see. I am picking Notre Dame. I'm just saying it could be interesting. And Boston College is at SMU. SMU is still undefeated in ACC play.
Yeah, SMU is still the better team. They are actually on the verge of clinching a spot here.
In the ACC title game.
Yeah,
Unreal.
Let's go ahead and see.
I mean, they have 2 games after this yet to go. It's nowhere near done yet. But
it depends on who they've played. But if they can piece together,
they skip all the top teams, basically.
Good.
They miss Clemson. They miss Miami.
Their magic number is
Georgia
2.
Tech even.
Their magic number is 2. If they win this one, obviously, if they win out, they're in. But yeah, this one
2 of the next 3 they're in.
What it is this one plus a loss by either Miami or Clemson at any point will basically seal it. But their magic number right now is 2.
Very nice for the Pony Express.
Yeah.
Kind of the stamp of a rival for them, finally back after the death penalty in the 80s.
Dude, do they immediately move to renegotiate their standing in the conference?
I don't know if they have any leg to renegotiate. It's very, very much depends on how that contract was written.
You win a natty, you get a lot of leg.
That is fair. Moving right along here, LSU is at Florida. I understand why Bug is taking Florida. It's the same reason why I picked this game. It's an interesting one to watch.
But
Oh
LSU's
man,
coming in
LSU
mad.
should be good here.
LSU is a better team on paper. They've played better generally all year. Florida's just having a rough year. They've already said they're sticking by Billy Napier, so they're not getting that 2-game bump for going interim. But I still like LSU here, and they're going to come in mad after last week with the feeling that they have to prove something, which they kind of do.
Next up here, Missouri State at North Dakota State. Unbelievably, even though Missouri State's going up to the FBS next year, this game might determine the Missouri Valley champion. We don't know yet if it will or not, though, because the Missouri Valley has never actually officially said whether or not Missouri State is eligible for the Missouri Valley Football Conference Championship this season, because they are not eligible for the postseason. They will not be in the playoff no matter what. But, I mean,
man, why is
6-0 in conference?
I hate that the NCAA does that. Like, I get it because of scholarship limits, but it's
going up. It makes sense to me. You're not eligible a year before you move up because they changed the scholarship limit. You have different rules. You get to start acting like an FBS program. Just you have an FCS scheduled for that first season.
Okay, but
it's when you're already up that it makes no sense to me why you still have a postseason ban.
But work with me here. Why have different limits for Division I football?
Every conference has their own limits.
No. But what I mean
is NEC just changed the scholarship limits for the NEC specifically.
Yeah, and I'm okay with conferences doing that, but the NCAA moving up internal to Division I should not increase or decrease scholarship limits. Period. Right? There's still
They are officially recognized subdivisions. They have different rules inherently in the NCAA. I know they're both called Division I, but they are treated separately, even by the governing body.
I don't like it.
I know you don't, and I don't really love it either, but it is what it is. To some extent.
Either way, we're going North Dakota State.
Yeah, we're all picking the Bison, which I would think this would be a different conversation if it were in Missouri State. I think we would be mixed.
Yep.
Actually, but it's in the Fargo Dome.
It's in the Fargo Dome, man.
Yeah. Next up here, Nebraska is at USC.
All right. I was torn here.
Me too.
Because USC cannot win a Big Ten game. Like, they struggle to do it. I know they've pulled one out, but they struggle. But Nebraska can't win on the road. Like, at all. Trojans.
USC has this game, Notre Dame, and UCLA left. They kind of need to win this if they want to be bowl eligible. I think Lincoln Riley is fighting for his job.
I think so too.
Actually, at this point, if they don't make a bowl game, there are going to be some problems. And Miller Moss has been benched. They're trying something here. I think it's going to work for them. And we're all siding with the Trojans. But, man, this is a funky one.
Look, you can't have even one losing season in LA. They call for your job immediately, and that's what's going on with Lincoln Riley right now.
They were calling for his job after he lost 2 games.
This is the same thing to Clay Hilton.
Baylor at West Virginia. One of us picked Baylor, therefore Baylor's going to win.
Well, here's the problem. I almost took Baylor too. Here's the problem. Baylor can't play on the road.
Sure.
But West Virginia can't play at home.
Sure. It's also a Big 12 game.
So nobody knows what's going to happen.
Baylor's the favorite in a Big 12 conference game.
So therefore, West Virginia.
West Virginia should win, but we both picked West Virginia, which means Baylor should win. Now.
The logic changes week by week, especially with West Virginia. There is no logic. West Virginia wins.
You're the only one of us who's gotten West Virginia correct at any point this season, I think.
Yeah, I asked you to stop picking them.
I know.
But then I figured it out. And it's to throw out logic and just make a pick.
And I'm with you.
All right. Here we go.
James Madison is at Old Dominion. Throw out the records. This is going to be a close game. Old Dominion plays everybody tight. It's on the road in Norfolk. JMU is probably the better team. At the same time, Old Dominion's so fun this year. I know they're like under 500. This is a great Monarchs team.
It's a stat correction, or it's a year correction for them. They're getting back to the norm. And this might be a little bit of recency bias picking JMU here, but I do like JMU in this game.
I mean, we all do at the same time. Watch this one. It'll be good. Nichols is at Lamar down there in the Southland. Again, kind of a middle of the conference matchup here. At the same time, though, I had no idea who to actually go with in this matchup. I picked Lamar. I feel like
honestly, you're not going to like this because you and Ben both picked the games before me, and I got to maintain a lead. So I'm a little bit more worried about you. So if you're going down, I'm going down too. And if you win, you don't gain one on me.
That logic means we're both going to lose. I hate that.
I'm okay with this.
I don't. I don't like that. Idaho State is at Eastern Washington. Eastern Washington has been more inconsistent than Idaho State has been, if that makes any sense.
It does.
Somehow.
And it's late season Idaho State.
Eastern Washington, I guess at that point you could say consistently loses and has flashes. But I feel like even in games, you will find spots of brilliance from Eastern Washington, and they just don't put it all together. Idaho State is a little bit closer to a competent team.
Like I said, it's late season Idaho State. Eastern Washington is inconsistent. Go with late season Idaho State.
It's also such a great logo.
It is.
I love this Tiger logo.
It's a great Tiger logo.
South Carolina State at Morgan State, another big MEAC battle over there. At Morgan State, though,
doesn't matter.
It's already proved to us they can win on the road. We're going with the Bulldogs. Morgan State, though, if they do pull off this upset, it would be a pretty big upset. Morgan State then would be in the driver's seat for the MEAC. So big implications here, even though we are favoring South Carolina State pretty heavily. And then Missouri at South Carolina. We all know where Bug's picking, but I think I have to agree. I think South Carolina is better than Missouri right now.
All right. I have to disagree because if you ask me, looking at their body of work, South Carolina has some big wins. They have some tough losses. Missouri's kind of the same. When I put I'm going to use the college football playoff terms together, though. When I put the body of work together,
okay,
I actually think Missouri's been more impressive for what I expected this year. They passed my eye test. So, in other words, there's absolutely no logic here. I'm just picking them to win because I want them to win.
Right. That makes more sense. Because trying to apply logic to what you said was
no. I was using college football. I was using college football playoff committee logic. It doesn't exist. But no,
I was about to say, what are you talking about? They lost 34-0 to Alabama, and then it's playoff committee logic. We're good.
The other piece here is there are some areas where I need to try to get separation again. Again, playing the game of the long game in the season. And this is one of those games where it really could go either way. One's 4-2 in conference, one's 4-3 in conference. They're about equal in all reality. I like Missouri here, and I couldn't justify all of us going with the Cox.
I respect that. I also feel like it's very possible we see South Carolina win by multiple touchdowns. I know that's bold.
No, it's valid. Looking at home splits here, actually, South Carolina plays better on the road than they do at home. They're 3-1 on the road and 3-2 at home. Missouri definitely plays a lot better at home. They're 6-0 at home, 1-2 on the road. So this really could, you got week against week again, but I'm going to stick with the Tigers here.
Makes for fun matchups.
Yeah.
Heading down to the UAC. Southern
Utah gets blind.
Arkansas. Yes.
They've been affected with blindness.
That is fair. The stripe field is atrocious. We're all picking the Bears of Central Arkansas. Rutgers at Maryland here. I think we're seeing a November Rutgers that's different than the October Rutgers, which was different than the September Rutgers.
Which is definitely different than September Maryland.
Yes. But actually, Maryland's been consistent this season, which is not good news.
They've been consistently mediocre.
Maryland is favored in this one, and they are the home team. You and I are both pulling for the Schiano madness.
Yeah, I did this last time too, where I overcorrected with Schiano, and then we just kind of let Rutgers go for a few weeks, and then I picked wrong, and now I'm overcorrecting back to the Schiano madness. You got to stop this, but at least we're going down together.
Boise State is at San Jose State. I actually love this matchup. I think this could be a pretty fun game, but of course, we all expect Ash and GT to run all over everybody.
Yeah, but are they really going to have as much time of possession as they're used to? That's the question. Man, he is something.
You keep talking about it as if Niumatalolo runs the old Navy scheme.
I can't get out that he's running more of a spread option now.
I mean, their leading receivers almost 1,200 yards on the season already. Like this is actually a pretty fun offense for the Spartans.
I hate when coaches that leave service academies can adapt and don't just, fall off the face of the earth. Looking at you, Troy. Please fall off the face of the earth.
I wonder if that's directed to anybody in particular. Arizona State at Kansas State. You and I are both going with the Sun Devils.
Which means Kansas State's going to win.
Yes.
Fun fact, this is for third place in the Big 12. This is at home. Arizona State is currently – oh, no, it's on the road. Arizona State – this changes my calculus. Arizona State's 500 on the road, and Kansas State is undefeated at home. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup here.
Here's the thing, though. The Big 12 is the place where records like that are made to be broken.
Yeah, correct.
You cannot stay undefeated anywhere.
No. Nobody understands the Big 12, so Arizona State.
Exactly. That's the entire logic. Is everything you believe to be true is false in the Big 12, and everything you believe to be false is also false in the Big 12.
Anything that you believe is possible, though, is definitely possible. Unless you believe Oklahoma State winning a Big 12 game is possible. I got bad news.
Anything you think is impossible is probable. Abilene Christian at Tarleton State, back down to the UAC for a minute here. This is the big one. This is winner takes all, it feels like, in a lot of ways. They need to win out after this to guarantee it, but the winner of this game is definitely in position to be not only in the playoff, but one of the top seeds in the playoff, actually, because both these teams have pretty strong overall records. If the loser of this game wins out as well, I would expect we see both of these teams make the playoff in some capacity. Abilene Christian at Tarleton State. I believe Abilene Christian to be a slightly better team.
I would agree.
I'm not convinced of that entirely. My main argument being that Tarleton State seems to win by the skin of their teeth a lot of the time. But Abilene Christian just did that last week as well.
Yeah, but ACU also looks a little more consistent throughout the season, and that's kind of why I'm rolling with ACU here.
I also see a better defense out of the Wildcats than I do out of the Texans. Defense travels better.
Yep.
But it is a home game for Tarleton State, so who knows? Bug's going with Tarleton. entirely understand it. One of us had to. This is too good of a game to be one-sided on.
This next game is not.
Yeah, Oregon's at Wisconsin.
And we're going Ducks Unlimited here because that's what this logo reminds me of.
It does very much seem like that. This is actually I think the Barstool Oregon logo, which was Quack Addicts.
Good.
It's in Camp Randall. I don't remember the last time Oregon played at Camp Randall. I don't know if it's ever happened. I do remember these two.
I can't remember the last time Wisconsin played at Camp Randall. In other words, they haven't shown up this year.
I understood what you meant. I was trying to think of the last week that they played well. I think like 3 weeks ago, they actually blew somebody out at home. It was amazing. They have it in them sometimes. But this exact matchup was a Rose Bowl game back when Russell Wilson was on the Badgers. And that was a really fun one. Obviously, very different teams at this point.
I was going to say, you're talking decades ago. A decade.
Decade and a half. What was that? Old. Was that 2000? Yeah, I think it was 2010. Yeah. Right around then. Ohio State lost at Camp Randall that year.
2010 was Ohio State, Oregon.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, going up. TCU, Wisconsin was 2011. He was drafted in 2012.
So I guess I'm thinking of Wisconsin, TCU. I was convinced it was Oregon, Washington, or Oregon, Wisconsin. That's why I wanted to pick this game, because it reminded me of that matchup. That never happened. So I just imagined something out of nowhere.
Dude, happens to the best of us. Either way, this is Ducks Unlimited game to lose.
Yeah, Oregon.
Hey, and that's how we link it. You have the Ducks versus Mr. Unlimited's old school. So we get Ducks Unlimited.
Not as cool as my original thought if it were true, but it's not. So we have to go with yours. Tennessee is at Georgia. I know this is dangerous. Picking either of these teams feels dangerous, honestly. I was about to say it feels dangerous taking the Bulldogs after they got annihilated on the line of scrimmage with how good the Tennessee defensive line is. Here's the thing, though. It's not like Tennessee's offensive line is that good either. And Nico Imalieva, whatever, Nico is potentially out this game still. Not actually been cleared of concussion protocol. I don't know if that actually even affects the outcome of this game. It's not like Nico's played incredible all season. So we'll see. But it's at Georgia. I'm taking the Bulldogs at home.
I get it. I just couldn't go all Georgia here. That was setting us up for failure. So I had to take the Vols.
I appreciate it because I really do think Georgia's going to win. And that means a point for me over you. Very much looking forward to that.
Might give you a 2 here.
But you'll get it right back because you're the only one picking Cincinnati in a Big 12 game.
Look, you just told me how much you hate Cincinnati right now, so I had to capitalize.
I know.
And we're definitely going to capitalize here. Cincinnati's going to throw another wrench into the Big 12 conference here as they are going to push up to 4-3 to go tied with a sliding Iowa State team right now.
Yeah, losers of 2 in a row, the Cyclones.
Let's go ahead and make it 3 of a kind.
No, thanks. I'm good.
That wasn't a question.
I said no thanks. I don't want it.
I didn't ask.
we ain't about it. No. Let's go to Tobacco Road, Wake Forest at North Carolina. You and I are both going the Heels.
Yep.
Out in Chapel Hill. People have kind of been overlooking Amarian Hampton because North Carolina is down to about a 500 team again now. Hampton is still really good and playing very well. Just he's not fueling domination like Ashton GT is or something.
Yeah.
And Wake Forest kind of has no answer for anything. Hank Bachmeier is, I liked him at Louisiana Tech. I didn't think he was a Power 5 quarterback, and he's kind of proving me right. It feels like this season.
We like that. We like proving Doug right.
Yeah. Closing in on a 1-to-1 touchdown interception ratio.
Hey. Is he currently in the positive or no?
He is positive.
All right.
It's 14-9, but it feels like he could go off for a multi-pick game anytime. That's where we're at.
Fair.
It is a rivalry. Bugs going Wake Forest. Gotta respect it. But yeah, I feel like the Heels should pick this one.
Do you have to respect it?
No, it's not. Speaking of rivalries, though, big rivalry down in the American. UAB is at Memphis for the Rack of Ribs, the most beautiful trophy of all college football. Yeah, UAB on the road here. No confidence in them. What a disaster UAB has been with Trent Dilfer. I still can't believe that's who their head coach is right now. Kind of ridiculous. It's kind of embarrassing, actually, what's going on with Alabama Birmingham right now. Of course, we're taking Memphis, but we had to pick this game because it's Bug's alma mater, his biggest rival, and it's the
It's a great trophy.
It's beautiful.
It is.
Montana State at UC Davis.
This one scares me now.
And matchup.
You are the only person. You are the only dude of us who ever believes in UC Davis.
Yeah.
And that scares me now. But I'm also a big believer that there is Montana State, Gap,
everybody else in the Big Sky.
Yeah.
I believe that as well, actually. Montana State is the better team. Here's the thing. UC Davis gets this game at home. And the way they took out Montana last week, it felt like I don't know what word I'm looking for exactly. Not just convincing to the outside world, but it was like self-assuring for the program. Like we have arrived as a legitimate threat to the powers of the Big Sky.
They have reached a level of self-actualization.
Yeah, in a way. It felt like there was some. They have become unburdened from what once was or what has been, as our vice president likes to say. And we were taking the Aggies. Why not give them a shot?
Because the Bobcats are better. Montana State.
Montana State's probably going to win, but I'm taking the Aggies. Why not? And Washington State is at New Mexico. There is a path for Washington State to make the college football playoff this season.
That's weird. They still win this game, though.
If they win out 11-1, it would take a little bit of help, but they could be in the playoff this season.
They would need Air Force to put up another 45-minute game against Boise State because they need that help. That's the big help they need.
That would be helpful, but I don't think
they need Notre Dame to embarrass Army.
Yeah, I don't think they're really going to get any Group of 5 type consideration though. Like they need to be a complete at-large, such as a Notre Dame would be. Like, I don't think they're going to take the place of a Group of 5 champion spot.
That's fair.
Because the Pac-12 doesn't really count as an entity right now in any real way. I don't know how that would work exactly. But, yeah, we're going with the Cougars. Bug's going with New Mexico. He's been tracking the New Mexico story all season.
Yeah.
He loves the Lobos, which, yeah, they are fun, and they make games pretty interesting sometimes. This should be the Cougars.
Yeah, 100%.
And with that, that's all the games we're picking this weekend.
How many do we have? You usually tally it up. I didn't see it this week.
I think it's 51.
Again? Wasn't it 51 last week?
No, it was fewer than that last week.
Okay.
It has been 51. It has been 53. I think was our highest.
We're going to pick less games this year. JK.
I said that one time and everybody latched onto it like it was gospel. We're picking whatever I feel like picking is the rule.
You did say it like it was gospel at the time. Like that was your intent. It just didn't end up that way.
I'm okay with how this has gone.
I am too. Believe me, I am too.
But thank you very much for listening to the show, folks. I'm tapped. I have had quite the week of work, and I need to get to sleep, to be honest with you.
All right, man. Well, I'm going on leave tomorrow, so let me read some links and get us on out of here. We have our patreon.com/BTFootball, twitch.tv/bigdudesinthetrenches, all one word, x.com/BTFootball, facebook.com/BTFootball, instagram.com/BT_football, BDTfootball.com, mailbox@BDTfootball.com, youtube.com/@bigdudesinthetrenches, all one word. Our Discord is scrolling. Doug, I love you. Still not reading it. But with that, Doug, do you have anything else for us?
Shout out Miami of Ohio, Ohio University, and Northern Illinois for their great match and wins tonight.
Love
You've
it.
done a great service to the nation.
Love it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that, thank you for watching and or listening. And just remember, you can't win a game if you can't win in the trenches.